Welcome in everybody to a Tuesday night edition of the Joe Quills Show. I am that guy, Joe Quills, and got a Tuesday night show here for you tonight. And hopefully, uh, they'll bring some good conversation along the way here. Wearing my hold all ticket shirt, even though I'm sweating like a pig because it is a little hot in here. But I'm not taking off all my clothes because I want people to watch the show, not run away from it. But we're having fun. We'll have fun here tonight. So we got a lot to talk about here coming up here. Um, Breaking news out of Sixerland. I'll give my thoughts about that. Maybe thoughts that you'll be like, hmm, because I've been saying it for a while now. Um, I might double down on it tonight. Hall of Fame ballots are out. I'll tell you who's on there. Um, Rays think their new stadium is unlikely for 2028. I'll tell you what I think, and maybe some additional thoughts here about maybe some other city getting involved. Um, Dallas Cowboys LOL, and Deion Sanders. He addressed the issue so far. So far so good tonight. Did not have a fire alarm go off, especially while I was prepping for the show, but I had to run to the store, so who knows? Maybe it did go out uh, when I was out at the store briefly. Hopefully that doesn't come up again for a while because apparently it does call the fire department because the fire department yesterday had to come and turn the alarm off because usually it's a quick, oh, let's fix this, boop, 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 fix, but it was after hours. Maintenance was gone. Even though they say maintenance is 24/7, they'll come knock at your door if it's an emergency. And I've heard somebody knock across the hall at 11 o'clock at night, but they haven't knocked. They never. I mean, they came to me on a Saturday morning once, but that was about it. But you do have all that going on. So, but hopefully, no issues tonight with um, no issues with that. So, um, but also, um, one thing I will say as well is hopefully we get through the night without any issues because I kept getting kicked off of Twitch last night, my Twitch, at Joe Quills, which is my preferred streaming uh, platform. Even though I do stream on my YouTube, the Bleacher Brothers YouTube and the Bleacher Brothers X, I prefer going on the Twitch if you can. So, follow me on there. If we get enough followers, I can meet the final criteria. I can get to be an affiliate on there, maybe make a little bit of money on the side, but it's not that big of a deal for me, but we'll see what happens. And maybe we do a gaming stream every once in a while as well, but this is what I use my stream for mostly is this platform of the Joe Quill Show, which is part of the Bleacher Brothers network here. Um, so um, I do want to check one thing here. Um, just checking one thing here first because I do want to. Okay, yeah. So all right, so I'll play that. Uh, I will bring up a stupid shit that I saw segment. Um, I teased Mike about it last night after a show. I was like, oh, by the way, I do have this planned. Um, it's probably old news because I'm sure a lot of the media outlets did show this already, but I gotta mention it because it's so weird. But that's the whole idea of the stupid shit that I saw segment. So, um, also, let me do one other thing here. doing some last minute fixing here, so we'll do that in a second. So back to me and my ugly mug. So um, there's a reason why I'm doing that, but I'll tell you after this first story here. Um, First, let's talk Sixers here. And the Sixers are in the toilet. They're sinking like the Titanic. 2-11 now. Worst record in the NBA, I believe. Let me double check that here. Yes, worst record in the league with the Washington Wizards. Now you would expect the Washington Wizards to be down there, but not the Sixers. Um, but with the injuries, a lot of BS going on here. Maybe there's a lot more to this than what is going on here, and I will give you my thoughts on it first. But just to begin everything, um, after the Sixers lost last night to the Miami Heat, apparently there was a team meeting after the game. Um, you know, the Sixers brought in Paul George, they re-signed Tyrese Maxey, and everything has not gone well this year. Embiid was hurt, and then he was suspended, and there was this, and there was that. There's a lot going on in that locker room right now, and it's turning into a major league shit show to say the least. Um, Now they did hold a team meeting last night following a 106-89 loss to the Heat, and I think there is some trouble in that locker room. I really do. Um, Beyond what I'm about to mention. It was the fourth loss in a row. It sparked veteran guard Kyle Lowry to call for the meeting, a much needed heart to heart, and a call to action and urgency, sources told ESPN. Players and coaches held each other accountable and took fault in the start of the season. Okay, but you gotta now you got a giant hole to get out of here. So um, do one thing here. There we go. So Sixers are in trouble, plain and simple. Um, Now Tyrese Maxey challenged Embiid to be on time to team activities, calling out the 2022-2023 MVP about being late for everything and how it impacts the locker room from other players to coaching staff, sources briefed on the meeting told ESPN. Now, I'm glad this is out, but even if this team was 2-11, they had this meeting. Do you think that this information was purposely leaked by somebody? Or were they stupid enough to have media in there? But I don't like, on top of everything else, that this is being leaked out. And, you know, everything with Joel Embiid, it's just like something changed, something changed this year within the team. Um, if you remember, he said that he may not play back to backs once again and never ever again. And then he said, "Oh, I'm going to be playing back to back." Everything with that. Then he got a technical foul for waving a towel during a free throw attempt in Indiana. He also he pushed Marcus Hayes, which I would have pushed Marcus Hayes too, um, but that got you 3 games, and he came in out of shape allegedly, and that was the reason why he didn't play for the first few weeks of the season. So it just seems like And I'm not trying to start a rumor here. And the one thing I did say to you guys, probably over the summer, one thing I did say is maybe Joel is trying to get out of here. Maybe he's trying to get out of Philly. And remember, you can't do it the way that James Harden did last year, where he was on a trip to China for his shoes, promoting his shoes or some shit. And he says, I'm never playing for Daryl Morey ever again. I want to be traded and everything else he said. Now, that's a violation of the code of conduct and CBA and all that other stuff, all the other letters that you talk about here. So something tells me Joel Embiid might be trying to get out of Philly because it just seems like all of a sudden he goes from this one character of himself to like he's the villain now of the team. He's pushing media guys. He's come. Well, he came in probably even. I mean, how do you coming out of shape 11 years into your seat into your career, especially when you're playing in the Olympics? But um, so, but Maxey and Embiid have a close friendship and a history of holding each other accountable. So maybe this is something that's accountability, and hopefully, it's just, dude, you're late for everything. Knock it off, and maybe he wakes up. But why do I get the feeling this is going to be like a WWE type thing where back in the old days somebody sneaks up behind Maxie and hits him with a steel chair? Now you're not going to hit him with a chair, but you get the idea. It's like wham, you blindside him, and you start bashing uh, Maxie in the media. Let's say, why do I get something like that's going to happen here? I just get that feeling that something is going to happen where Joel Embiid, and if he wants to go to elsewhere, and I can understand that because, or maybe they're trying to get the coach fired. Maybe Nick Nurse has lost the locker room already. Maybe the Sixers should have never fired Doc Rivers. No, they needed to fire him. But um, a person involved in the meeting said Tyrese loves Big Fella. This is the elephant in the room about how Embiid is not responsible with being on time and stuff like that. So, and maybe with coming in out of shape, if that was the case for his not being ready at the start of the year, maybe that had something to do with it as well. But I don't think that, I think that the Sixers have all kinds of problems right now. And they need to get their shit together because Maxi's supposed to be coming back soon from his hamstring injury, possibly even this week. Their new big three of Maxi, Embiid, and George, they haven't played together yet this year. I don't think. No, they haven't. I don't even think they played in the preseason together. So if you're going to tell me that, you know, I mean, I just think that maybe Embiid's trying to get out of here. I really do. And I'm not saying trade him. I'm saying not saying not trade him. I'm just trying to get a feel for this. And I'll tell you one thing. I do not have insiders. I don't even know if I have incisors in my mouth, but um, But, I just think that something just tells me that he's trying to get out of here. And if he wants out, then so be it. Um, but when you leave here, just make sure you say, "Hey, I tried all I could, blah blah blah." Not into, "Hey, Philly, this is what I think of you." Now, if you wanted to say that about Marcus Hayes, then yeah, give him the finger. You know, but in terms of the fans, um, we put up with the process, we put up through this, we put up through that. Um, but this isn't the first person that wanted out of Philly on the Sixers. Ben Simmons wanted out, but somehow he did end up in the WNBA. He's still with the Nets allegedly. James Harden's now with LA Clippers, and maybe it's Embiid's turn to say, "Hey, get me out of here." I don't know, but I think right now Embiid probably doesn't trust the media. I don't think Embiid trusts the media after what Marcus Hayes did to him by bringing his son and his brother into an article as well. So he may not really be talking that much to the media, especially to the Philly media. So I don't know. It's just my gut feel. And the NBA, you can't really say trade me right fucking now, like Dennis Lemieux said in Slapshot. But I just get the feeling that he wants out of here. And I said it last year. If you feel like you're not going to win a championship here in Philly, you desperately want to win a title, you know, just just be professional about it. That's all. But I think you're seeing the little brother Maxie playing Big Brother and telling Big Brother, who's acting like little brother, to shape up. And Tyrese Maxey's acting like the leader, and Bede's not. And Bede's been eerily silent this year, aside from saying that he's going to be he's not going to be playing back to backs again, probably now. Then saying he wants to play back to backs, and then yesterday he was um, um, yeah, and then he was doubtful because of an illness, and then was not seen by his teammates and coaches throughout the day before appearing for warmups. Now I can understand if you're sick, you're sick, but it just seems like Embiid gets sick too much as well, and he gets sick at the most inopportune times. Now, Bell palsy in the playoffs, that's something different because that pops up anytime. But something like this, yeah, that's something. I mean, it just seems like he just gets sick mysteriously a couple of times a year. But he actually played last night, and last night he had what? Um, Let me see here. He had 11 points, 5 for 11 with a 3-pointer. Did not shoot a free throw in 31 minutes. So I don't know. But we are finding out that Jared McCain may be a steal of a draft pick here. Maybe he's the favorite right now for rookie of the year from what I saw today. Um, he is averaging 21.2 points so far. So, and like Mike says, Embiid needs to be a leader. If he wants to leave, he can leave. Yeah, but but you know, but is somebody doing him wrong in the front office or anything? maybe, but he's got to do his part within the team as well, showing up on time, doing the work, and everything. Now, the players told Sixers coach Nick Nurse that they want to be coached harder, and coaches in turn said they want players to practice with purpose and attention to detail. So it's almost like they're a rudderless ship here. They don't know who to blame for it. But once they start practicing harder, are they now going to say, "Oh, you're treating us too hard"? But um, now, according to the source here, Embiid accepted the messages sent in the meeting, but he stated that he's sometimes confused about what the Sixers are attempting to execute on the court. Well, here's the one thing: Maxi's been hurt. Paul George missed most of the preseason because he had a bone bruise on his knee when he hyperextended his knee, and we thought he blew out his knee. And B didn't play anything in the exhibition season, so they got to ramp it up on their own. And if they have the days to do the practice time, then yeah, you can do the practice. The only problem is practice does not practice doesn't always translate to games. You have to make sure that you're doing what you need to do in order to win. And is it the coaching staff? Is it the players? Is it all the above? It just seems like maybe they're trying to get Nick Nurse fired. Who knows? Maybe Embiid's trying to see maybe I can get out of here before Nick Nurse can. I don't know. I'm not an insider. I don't have any insiders. But um, so Maxey is highly regarded as a young leader by many in the organization, and those around the team were not surprised that he spoke up on Monday. He's been out since November 7th with a strained right hamstring, but sources said he's expected to return this week, either Wednesday in Memphis or Friday against the Brooklyn Nets. So it looks like you do have your leader in Tyrese Maxey. And at least it's not a rookie talking shit. It's a guy who's on his second contract now. So I think if if the relationship between Maxey and Embiid is not strained, hopefully it's a wake up call for Embiid. At least you hope it's that. But what if it's what if everything between Embiid and everybody around him is strained? Then you're going to have to get rid of him, whether he wants to be here or not, because you can't have what James Harden did last year, what Ben Simmons tried to do. You got to do something. Um, but the Sixers are definitely not getting to their over their 51.5 win projection this year. That was on ESPN's Basketball Power Index ranking. Um, you know, maybe they just need to wake up, and maybe they need. I mean, obviously they needed to do something like this, but you have. I mean, maybe they're realizing that they're much better than what their record indicates, but the record does say who you are. And right now, this is a team that is in disarray. Um, if the practice time is there, then Nick Nurse can push the team and the team can push itself to get better. You can get familiar with each other, the big three of Maxi and Embiid and George, because Maxi and Embiid should know each other well from the last couple of years. It's just George getting used to being on the same team at the same time and all that. So, but things don't look good right now. And even though we probably won't hear anything about Joel Embiid wanting out of town, unless Sham Charania um, put something out there or any other insider. But I'm concerned that some of this stuff leaked out. Um, I can understand that I can understand that you just have a meeting and you had a players only meeting, let's say, or you had a heart to heart after the game. I can understand that, but when you're leaking stuff out like this, that makes it even worse. And maybe it's Embiid that leaked the information. Maybe some guy who's 12th or 13th on the bench maybe doing it. Who knows? But it doesn't look good right now. Um, we'll see. But uh, I just don't like. I don't like that this was leaked. If you want to call it leaked, that's the biggest problem I have. I mean, yeah, I do have a problem with Embiid, but it just seems like there's a lot of dysfunction right now, and that dysfunction looks like it's everyone, the coaches and the players. And some heads are probably going to roll. Probably, yeah. And Mike says it should have stayed in house. I agree. I think what it should have been was it was in house, but okay, they did have a meeting after the game, blah blah blah, and that's it. Not these added details that are coming out. But I mean, I'm concerned, but what do I know? I'm just a person that likes to talk sports. So one thing I do want to tell you about. Um, um, I do want to tell you about Rebet here, and Rebet is um, uh, partner with us here at Bleacher Brothers, and you get a 100% match up to $100 on your first deposit. Um, one thing is, if you follow me on Instagram at Joe Quills, I've been giving out some picks that I've been playing on Rebet. And I'm going to put the link in the chat here for those that are in YouTube and on Twitch here. Um, let me go here because I have too many windows open right now. Go here. So if you click on that link, you'll get the QR codes for either Apple or Android, and you can bet, basketball, baseball. Well, not baseball this time of the year. Basketball, hockey, yeah, football. There was action tonight, um, but I've been giving out picks the last couple of days, and the picks that I've shared with you guys have been, I think, 5-3 so far. And I know that when AJ does his picks and Toby does his picks, they try to keep it within the wall, behind the paywall, so to speak, kind of. You got to get the rebet account, blah, blah, blah. I like to share it because, maybe you guys will like, uh, use it as a promo, whatever. But, it's a fun little app. It's a social media type app where, You can wager. Not only that, you can see what I'm playing, what AJ's playing, what Toby's playing, anybody else. Me, my pick of the night came through tonight. I didn't realize that Drexel was playing on the road tonight at Fairfield. I thought that was at the DAC. Not Dak Prescott because he's out for the year and he's a gimp. But, I gave a pick out on Instagram that goes directly to my Facebook. And winner, winner, chicken dinner. Drexel did win. They won 67-61 tonight over Fairfield. So, you know, I've been doing that a little bit now where I've been just giving a random play every now and then. And I've been winning a lot on rebet. So um, you know, it, it is a social site. You can even challenge me if you want. You can say, "Hey, Joe, I like Fairfield over Drexel." I'm like, "Dude, you're gonna lose. Trust me." All right, well, let's make this a head-to-head wager. Rebet does facilitate that, and you can go head-to-head. There's no fees for a head-to-head wager, and when that game is completed, the winning side gets the money. So, so if you check out that link that is in the chat right now, excuse me. Yeah, that's really good when I'm doing an ad here, even though it's an impromptu ad. Uh, but you get 100% match up to $100, and it's a fun little app. You can follow me, follow the guys on Bleacher Brothers, and we can bring bring each other luck and get ourselves some winners. So, rebet links in the chat. So, feel free. And the code is Bleacher, and it's Bleacher in capital letters, by the way. So just to let you guys know. So I forgot to put that on there. So Bleacher is the code to get you the 100% deposit match up to $100 on your initial deposit. All right, back here in the studio here. Going to talk Hall of Fame. No, I did not make the Hall of Fame. I did not make the Hall of Shame somehow either, but the uh, Major League Baseball's Hall of Fame vote, the ballot is out, and I will show you who the 28 people are that are in this right now. Now, how this works is if you have 10 years of Major League service, you're eligible for the Hall of Fame. So if you have a great career and you only have 9 years, no. So I'm going to share my screen here. Hold on. I got the wrong browser thing up here. Hold on. All right, now I got it all set up here. So let's go here. These are the 28 names for this year. And Ichiro Suzuki and CC Sabathia, they're the new names. They're the two names that are probably going to get, they're most likely to get in on first ballot. Carlos Gonzalez, who played mostly with Colorado, he's on there. Bobby Abreu returns. Carlos Beltran. Other new players include Fernando Rodney, Ian Kinsler, Russell Martin, Brian McCann, Curtis Granderson, and Adam Jones. Felix Hernandez is on there. Dustin Pedroia is on there. A name that just missed last year is Billy Wagner. He was at 73.8% of the votes in the 2024 balloting, 284 votes. He missed by 5 votes. When last year Adrian Beltre, Joe Mauer, and Todd Helton were all elected in. Wagner will be on the ballot for the 10th and final time. Does help if I show you this. So let me give myself one of those for messing up. And then we also have Philly favorites Chase Utley, Jimmy Rollins. Abreu played for the Phillies too, and there was a fourth here that played for the Phillies. Yes, I thought there was. Oh, Billy Wagner. Yeah. So David Wright's on there, Ben Zobrist, Omar Vizquel. You got the two steroid guys, A Rod and Manny Ramirez. Also returning Andrew Jones, Carlos Beltran, Chase Utley, Omar Vizquel, Rollins, Abreu, Andy Pettit, Mark Burley, Francisco Rodriguez, and Torrey Hunter and David Wright. Um, Now, you're on the ballot for 10 years as long as you get 5% of the vote. If you do not get 5% of the vote, you're removed from the ballot. So just let you know what's going to happen. Now, who gets the vote? It's the Baseball Writers Association of America members with 10 or more consecutive years of membership. They do the voting. Ballots must be postmarked by New Year's Eve, and the results are announced on January 23rd. Anyone elected will be inducted on July 27th, along with anyone chosen December 8th by the Hall's Classic Baseball Committee, considering 8 players and managers whose greatest contributions to the sport were before 1980. Let's see here. Those in the being considered in the classic era: Dick Allen, Dave Parker, Luis Tiant, Tommy John, Steve Garvey, Ken Boyer, and former Negro League players John Donaldson and Vic Harris. So Felix Hernandez, he went 169 and 136 with a 3.42 ERA. I don't think that's enough to get in, but baseball has changed with the way that starters pitch. Carlos Gonzalez hit 285, 234 homers, and 785 RBIs. Don't think that's enough. Dustin Pedroia, he won 2 World Series with the Red Sox. 299, 140 homers, 725 RBIs, 138 steals. Hanley Ramirez was the Rookie of the Year in 2006. He won the batting title in 2009, 3 times All-Star. He played for Boston, the Marlins, and the Dodgers, and the Cleveland, then known as the Indians. So, personally, I think it's going to be Ichiro, and I think it's going to be CeCe, and probably Billy Wagner as well. None of these other names really lead me to think that any of these other players will be um, inducted. So I think the 3 guys that are most likely to get in are Suzuki, Sabathia, and Wagner. I think it's those 3. Maybe Beltran. I don't know, but I think those 3 are the 3 ones that I'm thinking the most about right now. So I don't know how you feel. Now the writers can vote up to 10 players. Now, if I have my ballot, I don't necessarily have to pick all 10. I could just say Wagner, Ichiro, Sabathia, and mail it in. That's all you have to do. It's who you think is most worthy to get into the Hall. And if you think it's just those 3, then feel free to do that. You don't have to. You don't necessarily have to pick all 10. Um, and Mike says Ichiro and Sabathia. I think Billy Wagner's going to get in too because he missed by that much. He missed by 5 votes, and I think. I think Ichiro is probably a lock because I think. See, I don't know. I don't know if they will count the time that he was in Japan. I don't think they do count that, but even if you look at that, you realize that he had more hits than Pete Rose, and I believe the Japanese season is less games per year. So, I think Ichiro's a lock. CC, I think he gets in. If he doesn't get in next year, it just depends on who's on the ballot next year. But I think that this isn't that thrilling of a ballot for the most part. So I think we could get three guys, and I think it's Ichiro, Sabathia, and Wagner. But feel free to chime in. Um, I really, I just think it's those three, but I could be wrong. And they will announce that on January. Where was it? January 23rd. So right after the new year, we'll find out who gets to go to Cooperstown. On to other baseball news here that came up today. Um, the Rays planned new stadium, which was set to open in 2028, may not be happening. May not be ready for the 2028 season, if at all. The team said Tuesday. Now that's a combination of the hurricane damage, severe hurricane damage from Hurricane Milton. Well, also you got to remember there was Hurricane Helene as well that went up the western coast of Florida too. So you had two hurricanes that hit there in a 3 week period. Um, so um, so it may be that they may not even build that stadium after all. But um, the team has already spent $50 million for early work on a new $1.3 billion ballpark and cannot proceed further because of delays in approval of bonds for the public share of the cost. Now, here's the thing, and I think even Tampa Bay is smart enough to say, obviously, there's more important things to worry about, like recovering from the hurricane that tore the stadium to shreds and also ruined so many lives in the Tampa Bay area. I think there's a higher priority of where the money should go. And the thing is, I mean, even though public funding, a lot of people are against it, you know, I can, I can go, but I'm more, you know, be against it too because the Sixers are going through the bullshit right now with the talks in city council right now. But you know, I think when they, I think when they, uh, uh, just the way that I'm thinking with this, when I see that the funding is was approved and everything, I will say this: you don't plan on a hurricane hitting you. You don't plan on that, and not only a hurricane that hits your area, but also ruins the stadium that you're planning to move out of to this new stadium, which may not even be built now. It just seems like it's almost a sign from above, in my opinion. And here we go with the God talk again, because I told you last night that God, it was a sign from the heavens that God does not want to watch the Cowboys. But um, but um, Ray's top executive said in a letter to Pinellas County Commission that the team has already spent $50 million. Um, they cannot proceed further. The Rays organization is saddened and stunned by the unfortunate turn of events, who noted that the overall project was previously approved by the county commission and the city of St. Petersburg. Well, there's such a things as acts of God, as they call them. Even if you are an atheist, it's just a term. It's not God saying boom. It isn't like that. Um, the letter also said, as we made clear at every step of this process, a 2029 ballpark delivery would result in significantly higher costs that we are not able to absorb alone. ALONE. The tumultuous series of events came after Hurricane Milton ripped the roof off of Tropicana Field, forcing the Rays to play next season the spring training home of the Yankees, 11,000 seat Steinbrenner Field in Tampa. Um, um, uh, the Pinellas County Commission postponed the planned October 29th vote on the bond issue that the Rays said had thrown the new 30,000 seat ballpark timeline off. Um, Now, the commission, which now includes two newly elected members, voted Tuesday to delay consideration of the financing bonds until its December 17th meeting. So, and who knows, they just may say, we got more important things to worry about. We got hurricane recovery here. Now, granted, it would be nice to have a new stadium and be nice to fix the old stadium so that, the fans can recover by doing things that they tried to do normally, like watching a baseball game. But there's much more than just a new stadium being built. And, it's just bad luck in bad luck when it comes to the timing of the hurricane and everything that happened, because you're only going to be in that stadium 3 more years if the stadium was ready by 2028. Now, I mean, you may not even fix that stadium. And I doubt the Yankees, even though they'll gladly take Tampa Bay's money for the renter's fee for 81 games. I guarantee you that you know, I guarantee you I mean, they'll gladly take the money, but I think in the long term, the Rays don't want to play 81 games for 3 years in Tampa, where the Yankees play at 11,000 seats. Um, Now, Commissioner Dave Eggers said, "This is a big deal. I'm not an anti-stadium person. I just want to make sure we're getting the deal done and it's fair." Now, now the question is, what is fair? Is it making sure we have the money to help those that really need it right now, the ones that lost homes? Is that what we're talking about fair? Because if that's the case, then yeah, I'm okay with that. There's much more important things than a baseball stadium. There's much more important things. Um, Now, owner Stuart Sternberg was asked if Major League Baseball can survive long term in the Tampa Bay area. He said the outlook is less rosy than it was 3 weeks ago. We're going to do all that we can, so as we tried for 20 years to keep the Rays here for generations to come. And also, they only have to be in Tampa Bay for 3 more years. So, because I think that's when the lease is up here. Yeah, the team's contract with the city of St. Pete requires that the Rays play 3 more seasons at Tropicana Field, assuming it is repaired. Now, if they don't repair it, Does that mean that the contract is breached here, or it gets voided out so they can go elsewhere if they really want to? That's what I'm curious about, and I would think maybe that's the case. Um, Now, if this new stadium does not get built, and Mike thinks it's a possibility that the contract becomes null and void at the very least. Oops, there we go. Um, Now, the cost to fix the ballpark for the 2026 season is pegged at more than $55 million for a building scheduled to be torn down when the new facility is ready. So you're fixing the building for 2 years. And the thing is, you can't really make it an open air stadium because then you're going to have to do drainage, all kind of drainage stuff that you have to do to the field, which I don't think. I mean, the way that it was looking at, like for me, when they were speculating that at the very beginning, it may not be that they can retrofit the stadium. At least that's what I think. I could be way wrong, but so be it. Um, Now, under the original plan, Pinellas County would spend about 312.5 million to the new ballpark. Um, the city of St. Petersburg around 417 million, including infrastructure improvements. The race and their partner, the Heinz Development Company, would cover the remaining costs, including any overruns. But this ballpark is part of a larger urban renovation project known as the Historic Gas Plant District, which refers to a predominantly black neighborhood that was forced out by construction in Tropicana Field and an interstate highway spur. And the stadium was opened in the early 2000s or late 90s. So um, now this broader $6.5 billion project would transform an 86-acre tract in the city's downtown with plans in coming years for a Black History Museum, affordable housing, a hotel, green space, entertainment venues, and office and retail space. There's the promise of thousands of jobs as well. But I'm just wondering, do they even play another game in St. Petersburg? Because if they choose not to fix the stadium, that would accelerate the team to leave. Um, Now, the one thing I would say is because I watched a video this morning on YouTube. Brody Brazil, Brodie Brazil. Um, he's a sports guy. He did um, a video that I think was posted within the last couple of days about how he thinks that Major League Baseball um, may not expand until the middle 2030s now, because remember it was about making sure the stadium fires, so to speak, in Oakland and Tampa Bay were extinguished, and we thought they were, but now we have Tampa Bay coming up with a whole different issue. Oakland's now in Sacramento for 3 years at least. So I think they want to make sure these new stadiums are ready, are being built at the very least before they consider it. Um, but I just wonder if they don't fix that stadium at all, does Montreal come into play? Because the one thing that we were talking about last month, right after the hurricane hit, everybody was saying, well, why don't they play in Montreal next year? Well, they can't play there because they have a big renovation project that's making the stadium unusable. So now what they're doing in that renovation project, I don't know. I didn't research it, nor am I going to research it. But if they're renovating so they can get back into baseball, where they would be the second Canadian team again, maybe. I mean, I think that it's a possibility that this could happen, but I think that they want to make sure that they can build the stadium. But I think that I think it's a very good possibility we could see the Tampa Bay Rays moving out of there, especially if that stadium isn't if that stadium isn't fixed, and it's going to cost them more money because of overruns and you know prices always go up. Sometimes more quickly than others, but I don't see it. I don't see it happening. I don't see Tampa Bay playing again in Tropicana Field, and I would not be surprised if they're in another city in a couple of years, or maybe even in 26, especially if Montreal is available to them. And actually, that will be even better for them within the division because Boston's nearby, Toronto's nearby, New York's nearby. Baltimore becomes the southernmost point in that division. Travel just got a whole lot easier within the division. But I think there's much more that's going to happen here. And, you know, I, I don't know what the end result's going to be. Um, well, it's difficult to build a stadium if a product on the field is not good. Well, they did in Pittsburgh. They did it with the Pirates. But I get what you're saying. I don't think Tampa Bay is uh, a bad product. I think that they're behind the eight ball a lot of times when it comes to financials because they're in a stadium that's ugly. Um, there's there's no there's no ambiance in that stadium. There's no baseball feel to it. Um, maybe you know, and we look at all the years that they were insanely bad. I mean, they were bad for numerous years before they finally started winning playoff series in 2008. Um, but I mean, I don't think that they're necessarily a bad product. I just think you know they find ways to win when they don't have the financial means that other teams do. And I just think now what you may see them move because I think that the perfect storm hit them and they may have to move because and it's for the six fans that they do have, it's going to be ugly if they have to move. And I wouldn't be surprised if they move. I think they're going to move because of the fact that um, it may not be sustainable to stay in Tampa Bay with all the costs that it would cost you to make that stadium. It just doesn't seem like I just don't think it's feasible with everything going on right now because that storm hit them pretty damn hard. But, you know, but I mean, for the sake of the 6 or 7 fans that they do have, hopefully they do get this done because the project is much more than a stadium that they're building, as I mentioned. But if the stadium doesn't get built, does the rest of that gas plant district get created or not? That's the question. Because I guarantee you, Major League Baseball won't be going back to St. Pete. I don't think, and I don't think they will go back to Miami either because Miami hasn't drawn for shit, except for September's and October's when they went to the World Series those 3 times or 2 times. But Miami's uh, stadium rights, their lease with Miami is much worse. I think they're there till 2048, so they're not going to be going anywhere anytime soon unless they find a way to breach the contract, which I don't think they will. But the fact that their stadium, their deal with the city is up in a couple of years, maybe because the stadium is unusable, that makes the contract null and void. Who knows? Now, on to the NFL here. One thing we did mention here was um, we mentioned it last night. We said that even God does not want to watch the Cowboys as a piece of the roof came down. And I think it wasn't anything too important. It was something that covered, um, it was definitely something that covered the wiring or something. So I forget what it was, but I thought I saw something about it here. But Dallas is now 3-7, and I think that was a microcosm of how everything has gone to shit for Dallas this year because they wanted to open the roof for the first time in 2 years. They tried to do it last week with the Eagles. Uh, Jerry Jones facelift. Uh, um, yeah, I just think that yeah, and the thing is, we enjoy this as Eagles fans. I think we all enjoy it as long as we're not Cowboys fans. You know, we're tired of Jerry Jones. We're tired of the Cowboys. If we could have 15 years of Dallas going 2-15, we will enjoy it every time. Um, and especially those stinking cockroach Cowboys fans that are still telling you that it's still our year. Well, if it's your year, you'd be in the playoffs. Next year's our year. You've been saying that for 29 years now. It's going to be another 29 the way you're going right now. But um, but Mike McCarthy's probably not going to get fired before the end of the year. And if that's the case, it's not a firing, it's just a job completed. We're not giving you a new contract. So technically, it's not going to be a firing, even though it will be portrayed as such in the media. Um, we called it job completion at Redacted Company when we used to have quote unquote temporary operators when they had that 3 year window. Um, Now, Jerry Jones has only made one in coaching change in his tenure for head coach, and he replaced Wade Phillips with Jason Garrett after a 1-7 start. And I think the one thing Jerry Jones realizes is doing that sucks, um, especially this time of the year. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if like they do to him what the Eagles did to Chip Kelly, where there was one game left in the season and they told him to get out. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. But at least we think we know that McCarthy won't be renewed. But Jerry Jones is 80 some years old. And Jerry Jones, the GM, has to go. I agree. But then again, we may want him to stay there just so that they can stay 2-15, and the Eagles can be 14-3 and beat the hell out of them twice every year. Um, but what's interesting here is that you got two teams in the NFC East now that may both be tanking for that number one pick. Um, 3-7, the Cowboys are projected right now to have a top 10 pick in next year's draft. With Mike McCarthy in the final year of his contract, there could be a new coaching staff in 2025. But Jones says he believes the players still believe in McCarthy. I don't think so. Bank Boy, welcome in. Hope you're having a good night out there. Um, Jerry Jones said that losing the team stuff is so overblown. No, no, it's not. Trust me. Look what happened to Chip Kelly in Philly. Look what happened with um, Doug Peterson. Well, Doug Peterson really got fired, in my opinion, because he wanted more power with making decisions on the team after a 4-11-1 season. If there's a year that you're going to ask for it, it's after you win the Super Bowl, not when you go 4-11-1. And Jeffrey Lurie probably laughed at him and said, "Get out." No, no, not out of the office, out of my organization. You're fired. Something like that. Um, Jones also said these guys are so, first of all, they're natural competitors. Secondly, they're so proud of the fact that they're professional and disappointed, and maybe the way they executed the play. But that's not anything that's brother or first cousin to give up. Everybody's certainly disappointed, but that's a big difference in not knowing that you got to put the foot in the front, one foot in front of the other to go, or something like that. Whatever I'm trying to read here. But I just think that maybe Jerry Jones is playing the owner role of Joe Biden here, where you just wonder what the hell is he talking about. Um, for the first time since 1989, the Cowboys have lost their first 5 home games in the season. They've been outscored by 118 points, the third highest total through 5 home games in the Super Bowl era. Wow. I mean that's pretty amazing that they get continually blown out. They've been down by 20 points at some point in the game, their last 6 games at home, which is an NFL record, I believe. The 5-game losing streak that they're currently on is the longest that they've had since 7 in a row in 2015. It ties the longest losing streak McCarthy has had as a head coach. Green Bay's lost 5 in a row on their way to a 10-5 finish in 2008. But it just seems like Dallas is just playing out the string here, and they got injuries, but um, now McCarthy did say, "This is it, man. We got 7 losses. We got to go. Backs against the wall. Got to fight, claw, scratch. Got to do everything we can to go to win the next game. That's where my mind's at. That's the way we coach, and that's the expectation. We got to win. We deserve to win. We deserve the opportunity to win, and that's about putting the best people out there. Right now, they're young. These guys, our young guys, are just getting a lot of experience. So, um, apparently, I'm putting SJ to sleep tonight. So, congratulations to me. I will try to be as monotone as possible and soft spoken as possible so that she can fall asleep to my voice. And maybe if I'm up, maybe I call her at 5 o'clock and I scream, "Wake the fuck up." Well, actually, I can't because we got a newborn across the hall. even though even though the guy next door does slam the door like 18 times in the morning. Kind of like how me, I walk back and forth 18 times, especially when I have to go to work downtown. I'd be running back and forth like, all right, do I have this? Do I have this? Do I have that? And you know, things like that. So, um, but you know, I think it's just a matter of time. Maybe Jerry Jones has a heart and says, okay, you don't have to coach this last game of the season. You can you can start your unemployment now, even though technically it's not unemployment or whatever, but the one thing I will tell you is if he does complete the season and he does not return, to me that's not a firing. That's just a job completion, in my opinion. You're just not getting a new contract, so you're not really getting fired, in my opinion. Maybe it's because of my upbringing at redacted company, but it's job completion. That's what it is. We don't want you back anymore. You did what you had to do. Get out. But, it is what it is. Now, one person who's rumored to be going to Dallas, and he will fit some of the requirements of the Rooney Rule, is primetime Deion Sanders. Now, me personally, I think he will be Chip Kelly 2.0 in college and be an epic disaster. But, you know, one thing is, prove me wrong. But Deion Sanders says he does not intend on leaving despite talk about him being a possible candidate for other jobs, including the NFL. But he's engineered an impressive turnaround at Colorado. Um, they've already doubled their win total from last year. He's been mentioned as a potential candidate for current or expected NFL coach openings, including the Cowboys, where he played from 95 to 99 and won 2 Super Bowls. Michael Irvin's been pushing for him for the Dallas job. Other Cowboys have mentioned him in the past. If they move on from Mike McCarthy, and I think we're pretty safe to say that Jerry Jones will move on from Mike McCarthy, but Jerry Jones is like 81, 82, something in that range. So he may be a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Um, Sanders said, I'm happy where I am, man. I've got a kickstand down. You know what a kickstand is, right? Yeah, I know what a kickstand is, you dope. That means I'm resting. I'm good. I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm enthusiastic about where I am. I love it here, truly do. Mm, but you know what they say, money talks, bullshit walks. I think if the right NFL team comes along, Jerry Jones, I think he may I think he may jump because, his one kid is definitely going pro. It might happen. Who knows? And like I said um with SJ's Yukon Huskies, with Dane Hurley, you had to at least go through the interview process with the Lakers because in the NBA, there's only a couple of jobs he would take. He's not going to the Sixers. He's not going to the Hawks. He's not going to Memphis. He's not going to those type places. He's going to iconic franchises like the Lakers and the Celtics. So he went through the process, and he went back to UConn. You could say that he was just trying to get more money out of UConn, or UConn said maybe we need to pony up just so we make sure he makes it harder for him to leave. But I said it before, I'll say it again. With Dan Hurley, it's either Boston or LA, maybe New York, but I don't. I mean, it's an iconic franchise in name only. It doesn't have all the titles that Boston and LA has. But I don't think he goes to any other thing, any other team. I think he has enough cred that he would either go to iconic franchise or just stay in the NCAA. At least that's what I think. I think in Deion's case, the iconic franchise is the Dallas Cowboys, obviously. And he may do what Harbaugh did by going back to a team that he played for. Harbaugh went to the Chargers. He played for the then San Diego Chargers for a few years. Who knows? Maybe he does go to Dallas. I think it's possible. Whether he does or not, that's another story. But I mean, it's just that you got to read Dion now. Is he actually telling you, yeah, I'm staying? Or is he bullshitting us? Like, for example, Tom Herman, who got fired, from what I was reading, he was looking at offensive coordinator jobs anyway. So he was probably leaving FAU anyway. If I read that article right on Bleacher Brothers website or whatever site I was looking at, might have been, I know it wasn't ESPN. It might have been something I saw on Twitter as well. So I do catch things here and there, and I confuse one thing for another, and I will say this: whoever did say that, whether it was an article or a post on X, if it's a legitimate post, because you could change, you can have a fake account of me, let's say, as Joe Quills, but you have it as JOEQU lowercase I uppercase ILS, because you got them numerous times over the years where people were making false trade news. It's like, oh my God, we got so and so, and then you look and it's Adam Schefter, and it's ADANN Schefter, for example. So you got to be careful with what you see, and that's why with and even with the Johnny Goudreau stuff, uh, you know, even though you're hearing rumors on social media, it's like, well, I know from other past cases over the years on Twitter, on Facebook, you know, is this true or not? And you start wondering, and you got to read into the mind and the actions of Deion Sanders. Uh, See, I just think, well, I think Deion's respected, but like you said, I don't think he's the fix. I don't know who would be the fix right now. I don't think we'll know who the fix is until we know who the candidates are in general, because you got the hot names that are going to come up. And I will say this about the Eagles, and this is in general. This isn't just the Cowboys. We know the only place that Vic Fangio is going, because he's what, 63, 64, 65, somewhere in that range. The only place he's going, probably after being a defensive coordinator here with the Eagles, is probably a nursing home, because he is of advanced age. Kellen Moore, you could argue that, but you know, maybe he needs another year. But some team may do what they did with the Eagles coordinators a couple of years ago. Hey, interview with us. And it so happened that the Super Bowl was in Arizona. Arizona needed a head coach, and they plucked their defensive coordinator away. And apparently, he's now winning games, and he's not a doofus like we thought he was. And I think Mike's talking about the Eagles' offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. I would keep the OC in DC. The defensive coordinator is going to stay. As long as he's under contract, he's going to stay here. And Mike says it is the Eagles. Um, when it comes to the Eagles, and I'm just using that because we went through the we went through everything 2 years ago. I just think when you look at the when you look at everything here, SJ says hello to both of you guys. So, even though you did say hi again, team up on her and say hi once again. Hi. I'm so tired. But um, Sanders received a 5-year, $29.5 million contract. See, Mike said hi again, even though he's not calling you SJ. At least he spelled Sarah right. But he took over a team that went 1-11. They're ranked 16th in the nation right now. They go to Kansas. They visit Kansas on Saturday. They're 2 wins away from a spot in the Big 12 title game in their first season back in the conference. Um, you know, but it'd be interesting to see. Maybe he does go to Dallas. You know, I think that. I mean, I think the best thing that he could do, even if he's not going to get a job, and I say this when it comes to my personal experience. When I was there at the MLB Diversity Summit about 5, 10 years ago, however long it was, um, the one thing I told the guy was, no, I appreciate that you've given me an opportunity to do this impromptu interview because guess what? I haven't had a job interview in 15, 20 years. You know, you get back on that bicycle, so to speak. You know, sometimes it's good to do a job interview, even if you're not going to take the job or not going to be accepted for a job. Just going through the process is sometimes a good thing. And be like, well, I shouldn't, I shouldn't have said this. Maybe I should have said this instead, or maybe just going through the motions. That's what you need to do. Just go through the motions. At least that's me. So, I'm going to add one thing here that we didn't mention here. Um, at least I didn't mention in the scroll here. Um, we do have the projected matchups, at least for this week, for the college football playoff. And I am going to share my screen again so I can show you the bracket, the projected bracket for this week at least. And the thing is, it's not official, but it's a talking point. It gets eyes on the sport, and it's also filler before they showed whatever game tonight. Um, so there was a change this week. Boise State jumped up into the fourth bye spot. They went from they moved ahead of BYU in the in the rankings. They are now 12th in the rankings. The top four were Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, and Penn State. The next four: Indiana, Notre Dame, Alabama, and Miami. Um, Now the quarterfinals, the top four teams are conference champions. Oops. Helps if I show the screen here. Let me give myself another one of those because I'm a dope. So there's the bracket as of right now, what they're projecting. These four teams that get buys, they're conference winners. So you have Oregon, who's the Big Ten. They're going to be playing for the Big Ten title. There was an article today that they're definitely playing in the title game. Texas, the SEC representative. Miami, the ACC representative. And Boise State is a group of five school. They jumped BYU into that fourth spot after BYU lost to Kansas. So even though you do have Boise State as the 12th ranked team overall in the college football playoff top 25, they get that fourth spot because they're the fourth conference winner, projected conference winner as of right now. It is a possibility that Tulane could jump up. It could be Army could jump up from the AAC. BYU could get back into that fourth spot if they win out, and maybe Boise State loses to UNLV. So there's a lot of football to be played over the next few weeks. So don't be surprised if you see some movement, especially because also Ohio State plays Indiana. And right now, Indiana's slated to face Ole Miss in round one in Indiana. Georgia and Penn State, that's going to be a hell of a matchup. Go Georgia. Alabama plays Notre Dame. Now, the thing is with Notre Dame, because they're not in a conference, they're in an independent, the best they can get is a 5 seed here. And they want to stay independent. I don't know why, but, but Ohio State has the 5 seed right now because of Oregon. Who knows? If it's Oregon and Ohio State in the Big Ten championship, don't be surprised if this flips and Ohio State ends up with one of these four buys and Oregon has to play a fourth game. Um, but you got a lot of games that are going to be played between now and then, and this is just a projection. We have a couple more weeks before we decide who gets to play for this first extended playoff championship. So, but that came down earlier tonight, um, and I just wanted to share that with you guys here as well because that came down earlier tonight. So, one last thing I do want to do here, um, and this is the stupid shit that I saw segment that I do from time to time. And I told Mike about this. I'm not sure if I told him what the gist of this was because yesterday, when we were talking about um, why the Bengals and the Cowboys cannot be flexed out of that Monday night game, I gave Mike specific instructions to not um, to not look it up. And here it's because it's the ESPN's doing a Disney slash Simpsons sidecast on the 9th. So think of it as Nickelodeon, but something ESPN's doing. Even though Simpsons is a Fox thing, they bought into the Simpsons or some shit. But I'm going to share this here, and this happened in California last week, and you probably saw it on the news. And I'm gonna play the video. I have not played the video yet, but insurers say a bear that damaged a luxury car was actually a person in a costume. I didn't even share the video yet, but let me play this through here because there's an ad here, of course. So, four LA residents were arrested last week, accused of defrauding three insurance companies by using a bear costume and faking break-ins of their luxury cars. Detectives found the bear costume in the suspect's home. Here's the video from the AP. So there's the person who's dressed in the bear costume wrecking the inside of the vehicle. There's the costume. And all the damage that they did, they said you could tell it was human made because bears wouldn't do something like that. I think that what they were saying is that the marks would be more haphazard. So um, let me see here. Let me see if this is the same thing. Let me just check this video here, see if it's the same video or not. Of course, there's got to be like a 5-minute commercial here before I look at this. Yeah, Mike, I agree. Stupidity personified. Um, that's the same one here. I'm looking to see if there's a different video here. Um, okay, so I think this video will actually be a news story, not just a video without any audio to it. Okay, I think this is. I got it off of 6ABC here in Philadelphia, but it's actually probably just a file video from a newscast in LA. So here you go. Oh wait, did that video? That video did not go through, did it? Shit. Um, that's on me. Now I gotta let this ad play through again. Okay, so let's try this one more time here. And then we'll do this so you can actually hear the video and see the anchor tell you about this story.
Talking about this one during the commercial break. It's one of the most bizarre cases of insurance fraud we have ever reported. Somebody dressed up in a bear suit vandalizing cars in Lake Arrowhead. The suspects provided their insurance company with this video claiming that a real bear entered their Rolls-Royce Ghost and tore up the luxury car. Well, tonight, 4 LA residents have been arrested and charged with insurance fraud and conspiracy. They're also accused of trying to defraud 2 different insurance companies by damaging 2 other vehicles, both of them Mercedes. Investigators say the suspects defrauded the companies out of $141,000. Officials with the California Department of Insurance calling the crackdown Operation Bear Claw.
And you gotta love the name for it, Operation Bear Claw. But that's like Mike said, stupidity personified. And I could go political here and or I could just tell you how I feel about people just getting dumber and dumber. But there's always somebody that's trying to get a leg up, and you get caught. Some sooner than others, but eventually you get caught. So that's something that I would mention here as well. So, um, oh, we got breaking news here from right outside of Studio 213, and I will do one thing here first. Let me see if I have it on here. I do. Ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news outside of Studio 213 here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It is raining in the city of Philadelphia. I mean, we've been so bone dry here. Not boner, bone dry. Uh, it's been so dry here, and I question like some of the forest fires and brush fires that have been starting. How exactly are they starting? A couple of people have been caught for catching the catching some places on fire and all that shit. But it is raining here in Philadelphia. Hallelujah. Holy shit. Praise the Lord. Where's the Tylenol? But yeah, so we definitely need the rain. Any rain helps. And supposed to get a good amount of rain over the next 24 to 48 hours. And they're talking about a mega storm, or what was the term that they used? I think they called it a bomb cyclone, because they said it was setting up over the Pacific Ocean right now. So, um, and there's a story I'm going to use for tomorrow. So we are getting rain, hallelujah, and hopefully we will be um, get into this deficit that we've had and try to get things a little bit of moisture, because it's not going to take one storm. It's going to take quite a few to get us back to normal. So, but anyways, so that's going to be it for this Tuesday night. Also, check out my Instagram at Joe Quills, because I'm giving picks every day. Did give out another winner tonight. I did tell you to take Drexel over Fairfield. I got that actually out early today. I got that out around 2 o'clock for a 7 o'clock game. So yay me. Um, and hopefully, if you saw it, you did play it. And I think I'm 6-3 in those wagers. I'm not keeping track of those, but I did give a bunch of winners over the last week or two, or over the last 3 days, I should say, because I gave you 3 winners on Saturday on there. I gave you 2 winners on Sunday. Lost a close one with Delaware, but then again, they're leaving the Coastal Athletic Conference, so fuck them. Uh, but it's because of football. But Drexel did win tonight, so uh, my alma mater did win tonight. So that's going to be it for tonight. Do want to thank Mike, SJ. I almost called her Sarah because Mike called her Sarah. Bank, um, and anybody who's lurking around, whether it's on the Bleacher Brothers X because I'm streaming there now instead of my X, uh, my YouTube, the Bleacher Brothers YouTube, and you know, and I know it's okay to lurk, but it's also fun to talk with me. So just remember that when we're back tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Do have one story that I've already seen that I'm going to talk about tomorrow night. Um, you know, things are starting to make sense with this one thing that happened, and you know, you'll know what that one thing is tomorrow night. So so that is it for this show. I'll be live tomorrow at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific, and hopefully SJ will still be awake at 9 o'clock tomorrow night. So, anyways, that's it for now. Do appreciate everybody for joining me, and we'll do a live tomorrow at 9 o'clock, and I'll see you in the winner circle. Good night, everybody.